Hi friends, welcome to Aishudiy. Today in this video, I'm just gonna show you guys how to finish a multi-strand necklace. It's a 5-strand necklace. It's 6 by 4 millimeter, I believe. These beads, I'm not so sure. I had made one a year or so back, and everybody seemed to like it a lot. So this was the necklace that I made a couple of years back. This is 6 by 8 millimeter Chinese crystals with an AB finish, and then this was the um, this was inspiration for this. So I got a little bit smaller roundel crystal, and then I have gone ahead and strung all my beads in the beading wire, and the beading wire is 0.45 millimeter thickness. This is the beading wire that I used to strung all of these. um, so I don't like to use the bead board, wherein I like to use these. And then if you I want to use this finding so that I can streamline my strands. So this one right here has a little U-shaped one finding, so that I have to adjust kind of this. But if you can see, I have my beads almost um, like close to each other. So this is what I have so far. um, you can go ahead and do that, and I would like to do from the innermost to the outermost. That's much more comfortable for me. If I want to add, I can add. um and apart from that, I have here some 3.5 inches of excuse me, bronze chain here, cable chain, and it's pretty thick. A lobster claw clasp, a couple of jump rings of two different sizes, and then I have a closed jump ring for the lobster claw clasp to attach. It's easier for me to put it in the back. It's for anybody who wears it to put it in the back. These are the beads that I used, and I have used this 2 millimeter bronze bead in between all the crystals, so that the crystal kinds of shows really nicely. So that's the look I'm looking for. It's not compulsory that you have to do the same thing. And then I have some crimp beads, and tools wise I need wire cutters and chain nose pliers to crimp my beads. So you can also use a um, crimping tool, but my crimp bead is really small, and I'm okay with doing with the flat nose pliers. So the first innermost strand, I'm taking it and then putting it in one of, and adding my crimp bead right here, and I am putting it in my finding. This is a 5-strand earring finding actually that I'm using for this multi-strand necklace. I find it comfortable to use this rather than to use a clasp which has a 5-strand hole to do multi-strand bracelet or necklace. So I prefer this method. I feel that this is easier than the other ones. So here you go. I have added in my crimp bead, and then I have gone in through the loop and then come back again through the crimp bead, and now I am happy with this loop size, and I'm holding this wire parallel to each other rather than it is crossing, so that makes sure that my wires don't cross inside the crimp bead. So I hold it like this, and I just crush my bead with my chain nose pliers. That's all you have to do, and we have already crimped. So I'll go ahead and then snip off this excess wire a little bit. There you go. And then what I do is I push all my beads towards this end, so that I have this much space. It's always good to have more space than less. So I have successfully attached one side. Now we have to attach the other side. All you need to do is put a crimp bead on the other side and take the earring finding and then put it through in one of the loop, the rightmost loop or the leftmost loop, and make sure you have threaded the beads properly without anything like two small beads and two big beads. Nothing of that sort is there. So that's what it takes time. Sometimes you miss that. So I'm just going through the loop and the crimp bead and one of the bronze bead, and then I'm pulling it to make it tight. You can use your chain nose pliers to pull, hold this finding and then pull the tail. It will automatically tighten up the loop for you. If you're happy with the loop, go ahead and then crimp it. All you need to do is crush the crimp bead and you're crimped. So I will just snip off this excess tail, and there should be a little movement, otherwise it will become very stiff. So I'm happy with the way I crimped those. Now the fun part is to do the other strands. So this is the way it likes to stay. Okay, now I'm taking it in my hand and I'm figuring it out. So like this. So there you go. Now the first strand is done. Now the second one. So when I'm going to put the second one, I'm just going to put the one side like how I did for the next, for the last strand, because only when you're finishing it up, then you need to worry about which side it is and how tight it is and stuff like that. So I'm just putting in my crimp bead, and then I'm going through the loop in the finding, and then I'm coming back in the crimp bead. I'm making sure I have enough space for this on the other side too. So if you have a bead stopper, that's of a great use. I misplaced my bead stopper somewhere and I couldn't find it. I was working on this for quite a while, so I don't want to wait anymore. I just want to finish this off. So I just used a tape on the ends to strung all these beads, because anyways you need some kind of a bead stopper. So here you go. I am happy with my loop, and then I'm crushing my crimp bead and snipping off the excess wire just like that. And then now I would like to push all the beads to the side. I just want to move all these strands a little bit towards that side, and my chain also, and keep the space clean, because I want to make sure that these align properly. Otherwise you will have to string all over again. So here you go. So if you can see, my finding is perfect. The only problem here is because it's like it's upside, the last one is up, then the next one, it's a U shape. There is a little tiny difference. I need at least one more bead, if not it will not go. So I am going to add one more bead to this side, and then I'm just gonna see if it is fitting properly or not. Yes, you can see here, if I add one more of the bronze bead it would be fine, but my tail is really short. I somehow miscalculated for this strand. If you guys are doing it, just be careful that you leave enough space like this after you're done, because this is what you will face. I have a short tail and somehow I need to go through it and then finish it off. It's gonna be fun now. I threaded in my crimp bead and I'm going through the loop again now, and I'm pushing all the beads to the side. Let's see if it comes back. um, yeah, it is, but let's see if it goes through the crimp bead. Yep, it does, but I should have a small tail to actually kind of pulling it together, but it's so short, you guys. Let's try our level best to actually go through this. Okay, here you go. I have a small tail right here. Let me see if I can pull that with my chain nose pliers. If I can grab a hold of it and pull. It's so small, teeny tiny right there, but I have hope. There you go. Now I'm just pulling it. I have a bit more tail than I had before, and I still want to maintain a little bit of a gap so that my beads don't get stuck and then stand. Yep, there you go. With wire or with anything, it's always good to have more. Finally I got it, and I'm gonna crimp it. There I go, I crimped it. Now I can snip off this teeny tiny tail off of my wire. Okay, and then you can insert that. If there is still a tail left, you can insert that in the last bead. So we are done with the 2 strands. Now we are going to do the third one. So the third one is this. First, the one side of the necklace is very easy because you don't have to pull it tight or so, and if you have enough space to come back through the crimp bead, then it's a breeze to do it. So let me just add in some more light. I think this is good. So I'm just coming back inside my crimp bead right here. There you go. And the loop, you need to be consistent with the other loops too. So just make sure that you guys are consistent with the other loops that you make. So how to make a single strand, I have explained the crimping process in much detail. I will link that video down below for you guys to check it out. Oops, my crimp bead crimped in a weird way, but it will still hold everything together, so I don't have to worry. Then I'm just inserting this small tail instead of snipping off. You can also insert a couple of beads, and that way also you can do it. Now I would push all my beads to that side and kind of make this sit down on my mat, so I will have a clear picture of what I am doing with my necklace. Because if you can see, there is a bit of a difference between each strand, and then yeah, yes, I think the length is correct. So I'm not going to add any more beads. I'm just going to put my crimp bead on, and then I'm just going to come through this center hole of my earring finding. It's the connector. You can also use a 5-strand clasp, but these are big beads. These are not very tiny strands, so this 5 strands will be a big statement necklace. And if you add a clasp which is a five hole connector, then it you will have to use a lot more beads than you would, and it would be very bulky around your neck. So that's also an important thing that you should keep in mind while you're doing the multi-strand necklace. Some people do like that, so but for me, my personal preference is to not have bulkiness around the back. It kind of irritates my neck. And then all the findings that we use are not silver plated or gold plated findings, so some might cause allergy. For me, I especially have a very allergic skin, so I prefer to keep the back of the necklace way too simple. It's just my personal preference, and um, if you guys want to use a 5-strand connector, it is the same procedure, but you don't need any chain or clasp or something, because the clasp itself will have that feature for you guys. All you need to do is attach these strands with the crimp bead directly to the clasp instead of this winding. That's the only difference that you will be doing it. So I snipped off the excess wire. 2 more strands to go, guys, and we will be all done. This is the same procedure, so I'll meet you guys once I'm done with the other 2. Thanks. Hi friends. So I have gone ahead and finished all the strands. So I have attached to the finding with the crimp bead. Now I'm going to attach the chain to here, and then we're going to attach the lobster claw clasp. So all we need to do is open up a jump ring. So this one has a big U kind of a thing, so that's why I used a big jump ring, and just trying to put the jump ring in. Let me see from here if it goes or not. Otherwise we need to have a smaller jump ring, a thinner gauge, but yeah, mine is going through. So I have here 3.5 inches of chain, bronze chain. So I'm adding the end of the chain here, and we need 2 pliers. You can either use 2 chain nose pliers to open and close the jump ring, or you can use jump ring opener and closer. I have a couple of videos in my channel showing you guys how to open and close a jump ring with the jump ring opener and with 2 pliers, so you can watch those. So there you go, that's done. And let's do the same for this side. Make sure the chain is thick gauge, because it has to hold the weight of all 5 strands, so that should be kept in mind. And my jump ring is not closed properly. There you go, that's done. Now all you need to do is just loosen up the beads, it will be fine. So if you use, this is a 7-strand beading wire. If you use 19 or 49 strands, this will be much flexible and will feel like as if you have threaded the beads on a cord. beading thread instead of beading wire. So here I'm attaching my lobster claw clasp, and then I'm attaching my jump ring, bigger jump ring to a closed jump ring. And then I'm closing my jump ring. There you go. I think the bigger ones are nice. Anyways, and here is our chain, our necklace, which is ready. And this is our clasp for it. I hope you guys liked this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Have a good day. Bye bye, guys. This is a nice statement 5-strand necklace.